Good. How you doing? Yeah. Good.
Great. You started your journey back with an emotional tweet last night. I know
That was just me having some fun.
it's good, but
Yeah.
for the phrase, one of Ann Arbor's favorite sons, when you
Yeah.
look back on what your time here and how it shaped you into the player you became and the man you are today,
Right.
what stands out to you the most?
Wow. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I had tremendous coaches. I had a great mentor. So I had some really good people around me who helped shape me into the man I became, then and but ultimately am right now. So yeah, I had some great coaches and wonderful mentors. Well, a wonderful mentor and my man Greg Harden.
So what did you got to see a little bit of the game in person last week. What was your impressions, and how does that kind of do you think it translates at all to a game like this, or do you think Michigan maybe holds some things back? Like, what is your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I don't know this from speaking to any coaches, but if I was a coach and I knew I had the Longhorns coming in here the next week, I'm just not going to show a lot, and then at the same time, you have a new offensive line you're trying to break in, so you want to see what they have. I mean, a lot of coaches, around the country, they're trying to figure out their personnel. There were a lot of games. You look at the Clemson game versus Georgia. That game was 6-0 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Second half, they ran away with it. The Ohio State game against Akron, I think it was 17-3 at halftime. And they have the best roster in all the college football right now. So I say this because there are a lot of coaches who are still trying to figure out what they have, and Michigan included. Now, obviously, new offensive line and new quarterback. So it's going to take some time, but you don't have a lot of time now because these games are live and they all count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you spent any time with Sherrone Moore, and what are your impressions of him? How excited are you for this game?
Yeah, I've spent some time with Coach Moore. I think he's just a wonderful individual, great human being, fantastic coach. I love the culture, and the good thing is that, he was on staff with Coach Harbaugh, so he understands what the culture is and how to maintain it and how to sustain it. So that's always a good thing.
We'll talk about the quarterbacks in Michigan throughout two last week, kind of rotating a little bit of them. What did you see from that last week, and do you think that would carry into a bigger game like Texas, or do you think maybe someone like Sherrone Moore would go with one guy?
Yeah, well, during camp, all the talk was who's going to be Michigan's starting quarterback. And I continuously say I think they're going to play two against Fresno State because it only makes sense, And what you do is not only do you need to see what you have in both guys live action, but you also put the defense that's going to play against you in a situation where they have to prepare for two quarterbacks. So I understood, to me, the mentality going into the Fresno State game, and we'll see how this week's practice has gone and how they're going to use the quarterbacks. But I would assume we will see two again tomorrow afternoon against the Longhorns.
Would you, Texas coming into town, how would you say the build-up around Michigan is compared to other big-time games like the Big House?
Because you have two storied programs in this sport who never really play each other. It's very rare, especially during the regular season. It's as big as it gets to me during the regular season because of the brands, the Longhorns brand and the Wolverines brand.
And to have this game for both programs so early on in the season, obviously bringing you guys here just adds to the hype of it.
Yeah.
But how do you think the Wolverines specifically could benefit from getting this challenge out of the way early?
I think now I love early challenges. I love, being in competitive games early. Like when I was here, non-conference games, we played Maryland, UCLA, Notre Dame, teams like that. Then we got into our Big Ten conference schedule. So I'm a big fan of it. I love it.
Do you think this is the biggest non-conference game they've had since kind of your time? Around your tenure, that was about when Florida State, Miami, those types of teams used to come here.
Exactly, Florida State, Miami. Yeah, we played those teams, yeah. So I'm not the historian, so I can't say it's the biggest one, so I can't answer that question, yeah.
What was it like for you kind of living through this team last year as, a former player and just seeing what they did, I guess, bringing the whole Michigan community together?
It was beautiful because they were, we say the team, and you could tell that's what they were all about. It had great veteran leadership from Blake Corum to J.J. McCarthy to Mike Sainristil. You can go on and on and on. So it was a player-led team, and those are the best teams. Any team that I've ever been a part of that was a great team or a championship caliber team, it was a player-led team. They had great veteran leadership. It was fun to watch.
Time for one more?
How much do you feel like it helps Michigan, even though there's a lot of new faces, but a lot of these guys were a part of that Rose Bowl team and the national championship team? How much do you feel like it helps them in a game like this to be able to draw upon those experiences?
Yeah, I think since these guys were around a year ago and they understand the culture and they know what it takes to win in big games like this, I think it helps them tremendously, as opposed to having like transfers in who don't really know the culture. They've never been in situations like this and they may get a little spooked. So I think it helps them a lot. They understand the language, they understand the moment, and they understand what it takes to go out there and play and perform at a high level. All right?
Right.
So much.
Thank
All right.
you.